Picture this. You're out with your sister at your hometown bar, minding your own business, when three drunk cops decide you're their entertainment for the night. They start grabbing at you, making disgusting comments about your body, threatening to arrest you for absolutely nothing. You feel completely powerless, right? Well, what if I told you these weren't just any two women? What if I told you these cops had no idea they were about to mess with the wrong sisters? And what if everything they said and did was being recorded? This is the story of Jasmine and Jessica Williams. Identical twins who look so alike, their own mother still mixes them up. Both are 29 years old, both standing 5'6" with natural curves that turned heads wherever they went. But here's what those drunk, power-hungry cops didn't know that night. Both sisters work for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Let me take you back to where this all started. It was a sweltering Friday night in August in the small town of Millbrook, Georgia. The kind of southern heat that sticks to your skin like honey and makes everything feel slower, heavier. Jasmine and Jessica had driven down from Atlanta to visit their grandmother, who was celebrating her 85th birthday that weekend. The sisters hadn't been home in months. Their FBI work kept them busy, Jasmine in the cybercrimes division, Jessica in civil rights enforcement. Different departments, same dedication to justice. They'd grown up in Millbrook, graduated high school here, left for college and never really looked back. The town felt smaller every time they returned, like it was shrinking while they grew. But family is family, and Grandma Rose's birthday was sacred. After spending the day with relatives, listening to the same old stories and answering the same questions about when they'd settle down and give Grandma some great-grandchildren, the twins needed to decompress. They changed out of their conservative family gathering clothes into something more comfortable, fitted jeans and tank tops that showed they took care of themselves. "One drink," Jessica had said, checking her makeup in the car mirror, "just to unwind before tomorrow's church service." "One drink," Jasmine agreed. Though they both knew it would probably be 2 or 3, they chose Mickey's Tavern on Main Street, the same place they'd snuck into with fake IDs 15 years ago. It hadn't changed much. Same neon beer signs buzzing in the windows, same weathered wooden floors that creaked under your feet, same smell of fried food and spilled beer that seemed permanently baked into the walls. The bartender was new, a heavy-set guy named Tony with kind eyes and a nervous smile. He recognized the Williams twins immediately, even after all these years. "Well, I'll be damned," he said, grinning as they approached the bar. "The Williams girls are back in town. Your grandmother's party, right? Heard the whole family was coming together. Small towns. Everyone knows everyone's business." Jasmine ordered a vodka tonic. Jessica went with her usual whiskey sour. They found a corner table away from the main crowd, just wanting to catch up without the weight of family expectations on their shoulders. The conversation flowed easily. Work stories they could share without violating classified information. Memories of growing up in Millbrook. Jessica's recent breakup with a prosecutor who turned out to be married. Jasmine's ongoing struggle to find someone who didn't feel threatened by her job. "Remember when we used to talk about being police officers?" Jessica said, stirring her drink with the little plastic sword. "Before we learned how the system really works," Jasmine replied, her voice carrying just a hint of bitterness. They'd both started college thinking they'd join local law enforcement, maybe work their way up to detective. Then they took criminal justice classes, did internships, saw how things really operated. The FBI had seemed like a way to make a real difference, to work for justice instead of just maintaining the status quo. The bar was filling up as the night wore on. Factory workers finishing late shifts, couples on date nights, groups of friends celebrating another week survived. The Williams sisters barely noticed when 3 men in casual clothes walked in around 10 o'clock. But the men noticed them. Detective Sergeant Billy Ray Thompson was the kind of cop who'd never met a rule he couldn't bend or a woman he couldn't intimidate. 38 years old, built like a linebacker gone soft around the edges, with the swagger that comes from 20 years of people stepping aside when they see your badge. His partners tonight were Officer Marcus Tank Rodriguez, younger, hungrier, eager to prove himself to his sergeant, and Officer Kevin Walsh, a rookie who'd been on the force less than a year but had already learned that keeping Billy Ray happy was the key to advancement. They'd been drinking since 8 o'clock at another bar across town, celebrating the news that a complaint against Billy Ray had been lost in the system. Some college girl claiming he'd roughed her up during a traffic stop. Her word against his, and his word always won in Millbrook. The three men had their badges clipped to their belts, even in civilian clothes. In this town, being a cop was an identity that never came off. Billy Ray spotted the Williams sisters almost immediately. Two beautiful black women, sitting alone, dressed in clothes that accentuated their figures. In his alcohol-clouded mind, they were exactly what he needed to cap off a perfect night. "Would you look at that?" he murmured to his partners, nodding toward the corner table. "Twins. Don't see that every day." Tank grinned, already following his sergeant's lead. "Those curves should be illegal." Kevin shifted uncomfortably. Something about this felt wrong, but he'd learned not to question Billy Ray's judgment. The sergeant had made it clear that loyalty was everything in their unit. Billy Ray drained his bourbon and straightened his shoulders. "Time to be friendly. Welcome the visitors to our town." The sisters didn't see them coming until it was too late. Billy Ray approached first, his boots heavy on the wooden floor. He pulled out the chair across from Jasmine without being invited, the metal legs scraping loudly against the wood. "Evening, ladies," he said, his voice carrying the false charm of a predator approaching prey. "Don't think I've seen you two around before." Jessica's spine stiffened immediately. 29 years of life had taught her to recognize this type of man, the kind who took what he wanted and justified it later. But this was their hometown, their grandmother's birthday weekend. She forced a polite smile. "Just visiting family," she said, hoping her tone would discourage further conversation. Billy Ray either didn't hear the dismissal or chose to ignore it. He leaned back in the chair like he owned the place, which in many ways he did. "Family, huh? Well, any family of Millbrook is family of ours. Isn't that right, boys?" Tank and Kevin had positioned themselves behind the sisters' chairs, close enough that Jasmine could smell the alcohol on Tank's breath. Her FBI training kicked in automatically, cataloging exits, potential weapons, threats. "We appreciate that," Jasmine said carefully. "But we were actually having a private conversation." Billy Ray's smile never wavered, but something cold flickered in his eyes. "Private conversation? In a public bar? That's not very neighborly." He reached into his pocket and pulled out his badge wallet, letting it fall open on the table between them. The gold shield caught the light from the neon signs, impossible to miss. "Sergeant Billy Ray Thompson, Millbrook Police Department. These are my officers Rodriguez and Walsh. We like to make sure visitors feel protected." The way he said protected made Jessica's stomach turn. She'd heard that tone before in interrogation rooms and crime scenes. The voice of someone who enjoyed having power over others. "That's very kind," Jessica said, her own voice taking on the neutral tone she used with suspects. "But we're perfectly fine." Kevin cleared his throat nervously. "Sarge, maybe we should." "Should what?" Billy Ray cut him off, his eyes never leaving the sisters. "Should let these lovely ladies drink alone when we could be keeping them company?" He leaned forward, close enough that Jasmine could see the broken blood vessels in his nose, smell the bourbon on his breath. "See, thing is, we've had some trouble lately with outsiders coming to town, causing problems, making our job harder. So when I see unfamiliar faces, especially ones as attractive as yours, I like to introduce myself." Tank's hand settled on the back of Jessica's chair, his fingers just barely brushing her shoulder. She jerked away from the touch, but there was nowhere to go with the wall behind her. "Don't touch me," she said sharply. The words hung in the air for a moment. The surrounding conversations seemed to quiet, other patrons sensing the tension but not wanting to get involved. Billy Ray's smile finally faded. "Excuse me? I said don't touch me," Jessica repeated, her voice carrying the authority she used when arresting suspects. But Billy Ray heard something else entirely. He heard defiance, disrespect, a challenge to his authority in his town. "You know what, ladies," he said, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "I think we got off on the wrong foot. Let me try again." He stood up slowly, his considerable bulk casting a shadow over their table. Tank and Kevin moved closer, forming a triangle of masculine intimidation around the sisters. I'm Sergeant Thompson. This is MY Town, my bar, my jurisdiction. When I extend courtesy to visitors, the polite response is, "Thank you, officer." Not attitude. Jasmine felt her heart rate spike, but her voice remained steady. We appreciate your courtesy, but we'd prefer to finish our drinks alone. Would you now? Billy Ray chuckled, but there was no humor in it. That's interesting, because from where I'm standing, it looks like you two might be the type to cause trouble. Public intoxication, maybe, disturbing the peace. The threat was clear. Step out of line, and he'd find a reason to arrest them. Tony the bartender appeared at their table, carrying a tray of empty glasses as an excuse to intervene. Everything okay over here? Billy Ray turned his attention to the bartender, and Jasmine saw something flicker in Tony's eyes. Fear. This wasn't the first time he'd watched Billy Ray intimidate customers. Everything's fine, Tony, Billy Ray said with false friendliness. Just getting acquainted with our new friends here. You know how important community relations are. Tony nodded quickly and retreated, but Jasmine noticed he pulled out his phone behind the bar. Whether he was calling for help or just documenting what was happening, she couldn't tell. Where were we? Billy Ray settled back into his uninvited chair. Oh yes, introductions. We told you our names. What do we call you two? The sisters exchanged a quick glance. Their FBI training had covered situations like this, being approached by local law enforcement while undercover or off-duty. The protocol was to identify themselves to avoid complications. But something about Billy Ray's demeanor, the way his partners flanked them like predators, made both women hesitate. This didn't feel like a routine encounter with fellow law enforcement. I'm Jasmine. This is Jessica, Jasmine said finally. Jasmine and Jessica, Billy Ray repeated, as if tasting their names. Pretty names for pretty girls. You know what I think? I think you two are exactly what this town needs. Some new blood. Some excitement. His eyes roamed over their bodies with undisguised hunger. Those are some nice outfits you've got on. Show off your assets real well. Tank laughed, the sound ugly in the tense atmosphere. The Sarge has good taste. Jessica's hands clenched into fists under the table. I think this conversation is over. She started to stand, but Tank's hand landed heavily on her shoulder, pushing her back down. Conversation's over when the sergeant says it's over, he growled. That's when everything changed. Jessica looked up at Tank with eyes that had interrogated murderers and stared down domestic terrorists. When she spoke, her voice carried the quiet authority of someone who'd never backed down from a fight in her life. Take your hand off me. Now. The single word cracked like a whip across the table. Several nearby patrons turned to look, sensing that something was escalating beyond normal bar drama. Billy Ray leaned forward, his face flushing red with anger and alcohol. You know what your problem is? No respect for authority. But that's okay. We can teach you. He nodded to his officers. Boys, I think we need to have a more private conversation with these young ladies. Somewhere we can really get to know each other. Tank's grip tightened on Jessica's shoulder hard enough to leave bruises. Kevin moved to block their exit route. The message was clear. They weren't leaving until Billy Ray was satisfied. But what Billy Ray didn't know, what he couldn't possibly know, was that both women had spent years training for exactly this type of situation. They knew pressure points and combat techniques. They'd practiced scenarios where they were outnumbered and outgunned. More importantly, they knew the law. Every move Billy Ray was making was a federal crime. Conspiracy, kidnapping, assault under color of authority. They were building a case against him with every word he spoke. Jasmine reached slowly into her purse, her fingers finding the small recording device she always carried. FBI policy required agents to be prepared to document criminal activity, even when off-duty. The device activated with a soft click that was lost in the bar's ambient noise. Gentlemen, Jessica said, her voice deadly calm. You're making a very serious mistake. Billy Ray laughed, a harsh sound that carried across the increasingly quiet bar. Mistake? The only mistake would be letting uppity girls like you think they run things in my town. He leaned in close enough that his breath was hot against Jasmine's ear. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to apologize for your attitude. You're going to buy us a round of drinks. And then maybe, if you ask real nice, we'll show you what real Southern hospitality looks like. The sexual threat hung in the air like smoke. Other patrons were openly staring now, but no one moved to help. In Millbrook, you didn't interfere with Billy Ray Thompson. Jasmine met her sister's eyes across the table. In that look was a lifetime of shared experiences, shared fights, shared determination never to be victims. Jessica spoke first, her words carrying across the suddenly silent bar. You have no idea who you're threatening. Billy Ray's grin widened. Oh, I know exactly who you are. You're two pretty girls who forgot their place. But don't worry, we're going to remind you. That's when Tony made his move. The bartender had been watching the scene unfold with growing horror, his phone clutched in his sweaty palm. He'd grown up in Millbrook, knew Billy Ray's reputation, seen what happened to people who crossed him. But he also had a daughter, and he couldn't watch two young women be terrorized without doing something. His call went through to 911, but in a town where Billy Ray had connections everywhere, he wasn't sure it would help. Instead, he did something else, something that would change everything. He hit record on his phone and positioned it behind the cash register, angled to capture the confrontation at the corner table. Everything that happened next would be preserved in crystal-clear digital video. Billy Ray stood up slowly, his bulk casting a shadow over the sisters. Last chance, ladies. Apologize, and maybe this ends here. Jasmine looked up at him with eyes that had seen the worst humanity had to offer and refused to be intimidated by it. Go to hell. The words cut through the tension like a blade. Billy Ray's face went from red to purple, alcohol and rage combining into something dangerous. That's it, he snarled. Tank, cuff them. Disturbing the peace. Resisting arrest. Assault on an officer. Assault. Jessica stood up, her 5'6" frame somehow seeming to tower over the much larger men. I haven't touched any of you. Yet. The word yet carried a promise that made Tank hesitate for just a moment. But Billy Ray was too far gone to recognize the warning signs. 20 years of unchallenged authority had made him blind to real danger. Do it, he ordered. Tank reached for his handcuffs, metal clinking in the silent bar. That's when the Williams sisters finally revealed who they really were. But not in the way anyone expected. Instead of identifying themselves as FBI agents, instead of trying to defuse the situation with credentials and protocol, both women made a different choice. They decided to let Billy Ray hang himself with his own words and actions. Jasmine's recording device captured every threat. Tony's phone documented every aggressive move. And in the increasingly tense atmosphere of Mickey's Tavern, 3 corrupt cops were about to discover that some prey bite back. The confrontation was reaching its breaking point. Billy Ray's authority was being challenged for the first time in years, and his alcohol-clouded judgment was leading him down a path that would destroy his career and his life. But he didn't know that yet. All he knew was that 2 uppity black women were refusing to show him the respect he demanded, and he intended to teach them a lesson they'd never forget. What he didn't realize was that he was about to become the student, and class was about to begin. Tank's handcuffs jingled as he stepped toward Jessica, but something in her posture made him pause. She wasn't cowering like the other women he'd arrested. She wasn't begging or crying or trying to negotiate. She was calculating. You sure about this, Sarge? Kevin whispered, his rookie instincts telling him something was wrong. Maybe we should just... Should what? Billy Ray spun on him, bourbon breath and wounded pride making him vicious. Let these bitches disrespect us in front of the whole damn bar? The word hung in the air like a slap. Several patrons shifted uncomfortably, phones starting to emerge from pockets. Tony's recording captured everything. The slur, the aggression, the complete abandonment of any pretense of professional behavior. Jessica's jaw tightened, but her voice remained deadly calm. Say that again. Billy Ray leaned in close, his face inches from hers. I said bitches. That's what you are, right? Just two more uppity. He never got to finish the sentence. Jessica's training kicked in like muscle memory. Her hand shot up, not to strike, but to create space. A defensive move that sent Billy Ray stumbling backward. He was drunk, off balance, and completely unprepared for any resistance. She assaulted me, he roared, loud enough for the entire bar to hear. You all saw it. She assaulted a police officer. But Tony's camera told a different story. It showed Jessica defending herself against a man who'd gotten aggressively close, who'd used racial slurs, who'd clearly been the aggressor from the beginning. Tank moved faster this time, reaching for Jessica's arm. But Jasmine was ready. Federal agents, she said quietly, just loud enough for the three cops to hear. Back off. Now. The words should have stopped everything cold. Should have made Billy Ray reassess, apologize, maybe even sober up a little. Instead, he laughed. Federal agents? His voice dripped with mockery. You two? That's the best you can come up with. Tank grinned.
His hand still reaching for Jessica. What's next? You gonna tell us you're CIA? Kevin looked uncertain, but Billy Ray's confidence was infectious. Sarge, what if they're telling the truth? Truth? Billy Ray spat. Look at them, rookie. You think the FBI hires hood rats in tank tops? These are just two ghetto girls trying to scare us with big words. The racist assumption hit like a physical blow. Both sisters had heard it before. The idea that black women couldn't possibly hold positions of authority, couldn't possibly be federal agents, couldn't possibly be anything more than stereotypes. But tonight, that assumption was about to cost Billy Ray everything. Jessica reached slowly into her purse, her movements deliberate and non-threatening. She pulled out a black leather wallet and let it fall open on the table. The FBI shield gleamed under the bar's lights. Special Agent Jessica Williams was embossed in official lettering below it. Jasmine did the same, her credentials landing next to her sister's. Special Agent Jasmine Williams. For a moment, silence stretched across the corner of the bar like a held breath. Tank's hand froze inches from Jessica's arm. Kevin went pale. Even some of the watching patrons leaned forward, trying to process what they were seeing. But Billy Ray just stared at the badges for a long moment, then threw back his head and laughed even harder. Oh, this is rich, he wheezed. This is absolutely fucking rich. You think some fake badges from a costume shop are gonna save you? He picked up Jessica's credentials, examining them with exaggerated theatricality. Pretty good fakes, I'll give you that. But I've seen real FBI badges, sweetheart, and federal agents don't hang out in dive bars wearing come-fuck-me outfits. The crude language made several women in the bar wince. Tony's recording captured every vile word. Jessica's voice could have cut glass. Those badges are real. We are federal agents, and you are making the biggest mistake of your life. Is that a threat? Billy Ray slammed the credentials down so hard the table shook. Did you just threaten a police officer? It's a statement of fact, Jasmine said, her own FBI training keeping her voice level. You're assaulting federal agents. You're using racial slurs. You're violating our civil rights under color of authority. Every word you've spoken tonight is a federal crime. Billy Ray's face went from flush to purple. 20 years of absolute power in Millbrook had never prepared him for anyone who knew the law better than he did. You know what I think? He snarled. I think you're two drug dealers who bought some fake badges to intimidate people. That's a federal crime too, isn't it? Impersonating federal agents? He turned to his men. Arrest them, both of them, and add impersonating federal officers to the charges. Tank hesitated. Sarge, what if? What if nothing? Billy Ray exploded. Those badges are fake. Those bitches are criminals and we're doing our job. But Kevin was staring at the credentials with growing alarm. Sarge, these look real. The hologram, the serial numbers, they're fake. Billy Ray grabbed both badge wallets and shoved them into his pocket. Evidence. We'll let the lab boys sort it out. The theft of federal credentials was another felony, captured in high definition on Tony's phone. Jasmine watched her badge disappear with the same expression she wore when suspects dug themselves deeper holes during interrogations. You just added theft of federal property to your growing list of charges? Shut up! Billy Ray backhanded her across the face. The slap echoed across the now silent bar like a gunshot. Jessica was on her feet instantly, but Jasmine caught her arm. This wasn't the time to fight back. This was the time to let Billy Ray destroy himself completely. "Did everyone see that?" Jasmine called out, touching her reddening cheek. "A police officer just struck an unarmed woman for stating facts about federal law." Phones were out now, recording from multiple angles. The story was already spreading beyond Mickey's Tavern, beyond Millbrook, beyond anything Billy Ray could control. But he was too drunk and too enraged to care. "I saw a mouthy bitch get what she deserved," he snarled. "And her sister's about to get the same if she doesn't shut her mouth." Tank had his handcuffs out now, emboldened by his sergeant's complete breakdown. "Turn around. Hands behind your back." "On what charges?" Jessica demanded. "Disturbing the peace, resisting arrest, assault on a police officer, impersonating federal agents." Billy Ray listed them off like he was ordering from a menu. "Public intoxication. Disorderly conduct. Hell, I'm sure we can think of a few more on the way to the station." Every charge was false, and everyone in the bar knew it. But in Millbrook, what Billy Ray said went. Usually. "You're all witnesses," Jasmine announced to the crowd. "3 police officers are falsely arresting 2 FBI agents after assaulting us and stealing our federal credentials." A few people nodded, but most looked away. They lived in Billy Ray's town too long to stand up to him openly, except for one person. "I'm recording everything," Tony called out from behind the bar, holding up his phone. "Every word, every action. It's all going online." Billy Ray's head snapped toward the bartender, his eyes blazing with fury. "You point that thing somewhere else, or you'll be joining them in a cell." "For what?" "Recording criminal activity." Tony's hands were shaking, but his voice held steady. "That's not illegal, officer. But assault is. Theft is. False arrest is." The confrontation was spinning out of control, with too many witnesses and too much evidence piling up against the 3 cops. A smart sergeant would have backed down, apologized, tried to salvage the situation. But Billy Ray Thompson had never been accused of being smart. "Tank," he ordered, "get that phone." Tank looked uncertain for the first time, destroying evidence, threatening civilians. They were crossing lines even he wasn't comfortable with. "Sarge, maybe we should—" "Get the fucking phone!" Tank moved toward the bar, but Tony was ready. He'd already uploaded the video to 3 different platforms, tagged it with police brutality hashtags, and sent copies to local news stations. "Too late," he said with grim satisfaction. "It's already out there. The whole world's going to see what you really are." Billy Ray's face went through several colors before settling on a shade of red that suggested a stroke might be imminent. "You little shit. I'll have this place closed down tomorrow. Health violations, fire code problems, tax audits." "That's extortion," Jasmine pointed out helpfully. "Another felony." "Shut up!" Billy Ray spun back to her, raising his hand for another slap. But this time Jessica moved. Her FBI training included extensive hand-to-hand combat, defensive tactics designed to neutralize larger opponents. She caught Billy Ray's wrist mid-swing, her grip like a steel trap. "Don't," she said quietly. The single word carried 29 years of refusing to be a victim, 6 years of federal law enforcement training, and the absolute certainty of someone who'd faced down killers and terrorists. Billy Ray tried to pull free, but Jessica's grip didn't budge. Her fingers found pressure points that made his hand go numb. "Let go of me," he demanded, but his voice had lost some of its authority. "Stop trying to hit my sister," Jessica replied, increasing the pressure until Billy Ray winced. Tank started forward to help his sergeant, but found himself facing Jasmine, who'd positioned herself between him and her sister. Her stance was relaxed but ready, the posture of someone who knew exactly how dangerous she could be when necessary. "Think carefully," she advised Tank. "Everything is being recorded. Everything is evidence. How much deeper do you want to dig this hole?" Kevin was backing away now, his rookie instincts finally overriding his loyalty to Billy Ray. "Sarge, we need to stop. This is getting out of hand." But Billy Ray was beyond rational thought. The combination of alcohol, wounded pride, and years of unchecked power had created a perfect storm of poor judgment. With his free hand, he reached for his service weapon. The bar erupted. Chairs scraped as patrons dove for cover. Someone screamed. Tony ducked behind the bar, still recording but now fearing for his life. Jessica released Billy Ray's wrist and stepped back, her hands visible and non-threatening, but her eyes never left his face. "Draw that weapon," she said with deadly calm, "and you escalate this from assault to attempted murder of federal agents." The gun was halfway out of its holster when Billy Ray finally realized what he was doing. The alcohol fog cleared just enough for him to understand that he was about to cross a line he could never uncross, but it was already too late. The footage showed a police officer drawing his weapon on two unarmed women. The audio captured him making racial slurs and violent threats. The witnesses included a bar full of people and multiple cameras. Billy Ray Thompson's career was over. His life as he knew it was over. And somewhere in his bourbon-soaked brain, he finally began to understand it. The gun slid back into its holster with a leather whisper that seemed impossibly loud in the tense silence. "This isn't over," he said, but the words lacked conviction. Jessica stepped closer, close enough that only he could hear her next words. "Yes, it is. You just ended your own career on live video. You assaulted federal agents. You drew a weapon on unarmed women. You used racial slurs while acting under color of authority." She paused, letting it sink in. "You're done." Billy Ray's face crumpled as the reality hit him. 20 years of service, his pension, his reputation, his power, all of it gone in one drunken night of poor decisions. Tank and Kevin were backing toward the door now, trying to distance themselves from their sergeant's meltdown. They'd followed orders, but they weren't going to go down with the ship. "Sarge," Tank said carefully, "maybe we should go. Call it a night." But Billy Ray wasn't listening. He was staring at the Williams sisters with the expression of a man watching his world collapse in real time. And that's when he made his final, fatal mistake. Instead of walking away, instead of cutting his losses, instead of trying to salvage something from the wreckage of his career, Billy Ray Thompson decided to double down. "You think you've won?" he asked, his voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried across the silent bar. "You think some videos and fake badges are going to save you?" He stepped closer to Jasmine, close enough that she could smell the desperation mixing with the bourbon on his breath. "This is my town. I've got judges in my pocket, prosecutors who owe me favors. Hell, I've got FBI supervisors who take my calls." His smile was ugly, broken. "Your little videos will disappear. Your complaints will get lost. And you too will learn what happens to people who cross Billy Ray Thompson." The threat hung in the air like smoke from a gun barrel. But this time, both sisters smiled, because Billy Ray had just confessed to corruption, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. And every word was recorded. The silence that followed Billy Ray's confession felt like the moment before lightning strikes. Everyone in Mickey's Tavern seemed to hold their breath, sensing that something monumental had just happened. Jessica and Jasmine exchanged a glance that spoke volumes. They'd just gotten Billy Ray to admit on camera that he had corrupt connections throughout the local justice system. Judges, prosecutors, even FBI supervisors. It was the kind of confession that could bring down an entire network of corruption. But Billy Ray, still drunk on bourbon and power, didn't realize what he'd just done. "That's right," he continued, his voice getting louder as liquid courage overrode what little judgment he had left. "You think filing complaints is going to help? I've made those disappear before. You think the FBI is going to protect you? Hell, I golf with your regional director every month." Tank and Kevin were slowly backing toward the door, their faces pale. They'd seen Billy Ray handle problem civilians before, but this felt different. This felt like career suicide happening in real time. "Sarge," Kevin whispered urgently, "we should go. Like right now." But Billy Ray was on a roll. 20 years of corruption spilling out like water from a broken dam. "You want to know how many complaints against me have just disappeared? 17. 17 times someone thought they could take down Billy Ray Thompson, and 17 times they learned different." He was pacing now, gesturing wildly, completely oblivious to the multiple phones recording his every word. "That college girl last month? The one who said I roughed her up during a traffic stop? Her complaint got lost in the system. Funny how that happens." Jasmine felt sick. This wasn't just about them anymore. This was about all the victims who'd tried to seek justice and been silenced. What about Maria Santos? She asked quietly. Billy Ray stopped pacing. What about her? The woman who accused you and your officers of planting drugs in her car. What happened to her complaint? Billy Ray's eyes narrowed. How did this woman know about Maria Santos? That case had been buried deep. I don't know what you're talking about, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. Sure you do, Jessica pressed. Maria Santos, 34 years old, single mother of two. You pulled her over for a broken taillight, found cocaine in her trunk that she swore wasn't hers. She filed a complaint alleging you planted it. The color drained from Billy Ray's face. Those details weren't public record. They weren't in any newspaper. How could these women possibly know? Who the hell are you? He demanded. That's when the Williams sisters finally dropped their biggest bombshell. We're the agents investigating you, Jasmine said simply. The words hit the bar like a physical force. Conversation stopped. Glasses paused halfway to lips. Even the jukebox seemed to quiet down. Billy Ray staggered backward as if he'd been slapped. What? Maria Santos contacted the FBI 6 months ago, Jessica explained, her voice carrying the authority of someone who'd spent years bringing criminals to justice. So did Jennifer Walsh. And Michael Rodriguez, and 15 other people who'd filed complaints against you that mysteriously disappeared. Billy Ray's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. His alcohol-clouded brain was struggling to process what he was hearing. That's impossible, he whispered. We would have known. We have contacts in the FBI. We would have been warned. Jasmine smiled, but there was no warmth in it. You mean Agent Davidson? Your golf buddy who tips you off about investigations? The blood drained completely from Billy Ray's face. Agent Davidson was his ace in the hole, his early warning system for any federal interest in Millbrook PD. The fact that these women knew about him meant, oh God, he breathed, your internal affairs. Close, Jessica said. We're Civil Rights Division, and we've been building a case against you for 6 months. Tank's legs gave out, and he collapsed into a nearby chair. Kevin just stood frozen, his young mind trying to calculate how completely screwed they all were. But Billy Ray wasn't done digging his own grave. You can't prove anything, he said, but his voice was shaking now. It's your word against ours. Against the whole department. Actually, Jasmine pulled out her phone, we can prove everything. Because you just confessed to it all. On camera. While assaulting federal agents conducting an undercover investigation. She turned the phone around, showing Billy Ray the recording app that had been running the entire time. The red dot pulsed steadily, capturing every word, every threat, every admission of guilt. 17 complaints that disappeared, corrupt judges and prosecutors, Agent Davidson feeding you information about federal investigations, planting evidence on Maria Santos. She paused. Should I keep going? Billy Ray lunged for the phone, but Jessica was ready. Her hand intercepted his wrist with surgical precision, twisting just enough to make him yelp in pain. That's assault on a federal agent conducting an official investigation, she said calmly, while being recorded. Again. The bar erupted as the full implications hit everyone at once. Holy shit, someone whispered from the back. They're real FBI agents. Did you hear what he said about planting drugs? 17 complaints? How many people has he framed? Tony emerged from behind the bar, his own phone still recording. I've got backup copies uploading to the cloud, he announced. Every word, every threat, every confession. Billy Ray spun around, his eyes wild. You don't understand. This will destroy the whole department. Good cops will lose their jobs. Good cops don't plant evidence, Jasmine replied. Good cops don't make racist threats. Good cops don't assault women in bars. She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a deadly whisper that somehow carried across the silent room. Good cops don't cover up for bad ones. And that's what this is really about, isn't it, Sergeant? Not just your crimes, but everyone who helped you commit them. Billy Ray was sweating now, his shirt sticking to his back despite the air conditioning. The magnitude of what he'd revealed was starting to sink in through the alcohol haze. I want a lawyer, he said weakly. Good idea, Jessica agreed. You're going to need several. Federal corruption charges carry a minimum of 10 years. Add in the civil rights violations, The conspiracy charges? The obstruction of justice? She shrugged. You're looking at spending the rest of your life in federal prison. And that's before they start investigating all those mysteriously disappeared complaints. Tank had his head in his hands now, probably calculating his own legal exposure. Kevin looked like he might throw up, but Billy Ray's brain was still trying to find an escape route. Wait, he said, his voice suddenly crafty. This whole thing was entrapment. You set us up. You came here specifically to provoke us. Jasmine laughed, the sound sharp and bitter. We came here to have a drink after our grandmother's birthday party. You approached us. You made the threats. You drew your weapon. You confessed to 17 counts of obstruction of justice. She gestured around the bar. In front of 30 witnesses, while being recorded by multiple devices, with no prompting from us whatsoever. The escape route Billy Ray thought he'd found crumbled like sand. But we're cops, he said desperately. We're on the same side. No, Jessica said firmly. We're on the side of justice. You're on the side of corruption, racism, and abuse of power. We are not on the same side. That's when Billy Ray finally snapped. 20 years of unchecked authority, of being the biggest fish in a small pond, of never having to face consequences for his actions, it all came crashing down at once. You think you've won? He screamed, spittle flying from his lips. You think this changes anything? I know where you live. I know where your family lives. Your grandmother's house on Maple Street. Pretty old lady. Lives alone. The threat against their grandmother was the final straw. Jessica moved so fast that most people missed it. One moment Billy Ray was standing there making threats. The next he was face down on the sticky bar floor, with his arm twisted behind his back in a submission hold that made him scream. Federal agents, Jessica announced to the bar in a voice that carried absolute authority. Everyone stay calm. We're arresting this man for conspiracy, civil rights violations, and threatening federal agents and their families. Jasmine was already on her phone, calling for backup. This is Special Agent Williams, FBI Civil Rights Division. We need immediate assistance at Mickey's Tavern on Main Street. We have 3 local officers in custody for federal crimes, including assault on federal agents and corruption charges. Tank and Kevin tried to run, but the crowd wasn't having it. Citizens who'd been intimidated by these men for years suddenly found their courage, blocking the exits and pointing phones at the fleeing officers. They're not going anywhere, Tony called out. We've got them surrounded. Kevin surrendered immediately, his hands up, tears streaming down his young face. I didn't know. I was just following orders. I'm sorry. But Tank tried to fight his way out, shoving through the crowd toward the back exit. He made it 3 steps before a retired Marine named George Harrison clotheslined him with an arm like a tree trunk. That's for every person you've terrorized, George said calmly as Tank hit the floor. Within minutes, sirens were wailing outside. But these weren't Millbrook PD units. These were state police in FBI vehicles, their red and blue lights painting the bar windows in patriotic colors. Federal agents flooded through the door, weapons drawn but finding the situation already under control. 3 corrupt cops on the floor, 2 FBI agents standing over them, and when a bar full of witnesses eager to tell their stories. Special Agent Williams? The lead federal agent approached Jessica, who was still holding Billy Ray in the submission hold. That's us, she confirmed. We've got confessions to 17 counts of obstruction of justice, conspiracy, civil rights violations, corruption, and threats against federal agents and their families, all recorded on multiple devices. She looked down at Billy Ray, who was whimpering into the sticky floor. Oh, an assault on federal agents while conducting an undercover investigation. Don't forget that one. As the corrupt cops were loaded into federal transport vehicles, the crowd outside Mickey's Tavern began to grow. Word was spreading through Millbrook like wildfire. The FBI had taken down Billy Ray Thompson and his crew. People who'd been victimized by these men for years came forward with their stories. Maria Santos arrived with her children, tears streaming down her face as she watched her tormentor being driven away in handcuffs. Is it really over? She asked Jasmine. It's really over, Jasmine confirmed, and everyone who helped cover up his crimes is going down with him. By morning, the story would be national news. The small-town corruption that had seemed untouchable was exposed in all its ugly detail, captured in high-definition video and broadcast to the world. But for now, in the aftermath of the arrests, Mickey's Tavern felt like the site of a small revolution. Justice had finally come to Millbrook, and it had come wearing tank tops and carrying FBI badges.